Good evening, everybody, and welcome again to Toloka Studios with Andesite Blue and investments in and finance in Ukraine. So, as I always mention, the investment and finance we don't really touch on too much now. Although I will have a guest next week that we will get into a little bit about business in Ukraine currently. But today we're going to be talking a totally different topic, more on a psychological and a spiritual level. Not a religious one, but one that touches more the heart and the conditions that we're experiencing. Some of us are suffering and things like that. So I have a special guest who has a background and a desire to help people in really finding their joy and their peace. She does this from her experience. This is not a learned educational part of like a degree to learn and teach. This is more of what she's personally experienced, has gone through in her life, and then she has a joy to share this. I'll be explaining more about it later, and I'll also give you an opportunity for Olena to explain it as well. So it's going to be a fun evening, and I think it's going to also be helpful for so many people here in Ukraine. This is not an easy time. We have our joys. We especially during we see our Ukrainian military doing defeat against our enemy, Russia, and those types of things brings us joys to see the strength of our team, to see the strength of our military, and to see the strength of our people coming together for the victory. Again, I'm looking forward to that day when we can celebrate Victory Day. But right now, we have a lot of work to do, and Olena has been working hard during this time. And so, without any further ado, I would like to introduce you to Olena. So, Olena, please, and oh, by the way, before I get into that, I want to explain. She does understand my English, and she speaks some English. But because it's difficult for her, I'm actually allowing her to speak in Ukrainian. So she'll introduce herself in Ukrainian, and then I'll go ahead and reiterate it in English for our English listeners. It won't be a literal translation. It'll just be what I know about Olena. So, but she will go ahead and speak to us in Ukrainian because it's more comfortable for her, and it'll just make her nerves calm down. This is a new program. Even today, it's new for me, so it'll just allow us to relax. So let's just enjoy the evening. Well, Olena,
Yes.
it's a pleasure to have you on the show with us, with Toloco Studios and Andesite Blue. Please tell us, not just your name, but what city were you born? Where did you grow up? Your family. Where do you live now, or the same place? And tell us a little bit about what you do in Ukraine.
Я народилася в маленькому містечку в Київській області, Миронівка. Власне, зараз там і проживаю, повернулася, бо там зараз безпечно. А в Києві було небезпечно дуже довгий період. І ми всі поверталися в ті місця, де було більш безпечно. Моя сім'я зараз складається з мами. У мене є мама, два брати. Тато помер. Власне, чим я займаюся зараз? Я психолог, енерготерапевт, і я вважаю своєю місією це допомогти людям відкривати свої серця і зараз проживати свою біль, з якою вони зіштовхнулися під час війни. Я хвилююсь.
Yeah, okay. So now, from our understanding, what you told me earlier is that you live in the same town that you've always lived in.
Yeah.
So that's your roots. I personally cannot relate to that because I lived in many places as I was growing up. Now, the longest I lived in one place was 10 years in my whole life.
Wow.
So, as a child, it was my last 10 years of my childhood going into adulthood that I lived in one house, which was a formidable time of my life. So I was 8 to 18 living in that one house. But all the other times we had moved. I grew up in California. I was born in Illinois, so there was very far apart. And then I went in the military, and then of course you move a lot in the military. Got out of the military, and I think moving was just part of my character because it seemed like every 2 or 3 years I was moving, even with my children when I started having children and so on. You know, we lived in Hawaii, we lived in California, we lived in Colorado, we lived in Montana, we lived in Arizona, so many places that we've been around. So I don't quite know what it feels like to have such roots. But I do know what it feels like to have roots in my country. So I'm from the United States, and I know how I feel when something goes bad or wrong in the United States, and whether it makes me angry or whether it makes me sad. You've lived in Kiev Oblast for all your life.
No, not like.
Not all life. Ah, okay.
I many travel in the past. Oh, yeah.
That's okay. See how good your English is? I told her.
Я не завжди проживала в Київській області чи в Києві. Я багато подорожувала, багато вивчала духовних практик, духовних традицій. Тому якось бачила інше світосприйняття в інших країнах, інших народностей. І, звичайно, деякі з них мене дуже вразили. І я шукала щось те, що буде об'єднувати всіх людей. Не якусь національність, не якісь національні традиції, а саме от відкрите ставлення до світу, до людей.
Okay, all right. I don't know where all those are at, but that's okay. But where you live now is kind of where you grew up as a child, yes? When you were a young girl, you live in the same area, same town, your city. Your city.
My city?
Where you live now.
Yes.
Yes. You grew up there as a child also, yes?
Yes.
Okay, yes. So, now, what was really interesting and what I really love about Ukrainians is their absolute love of their culture and love of their country. You don't have people not wanting to stand up and put their hand on their heart when they sing the Ukrainian anthem. Everybody shouts, everybody sings and is so happy about their country. It's a very devoted culture of people who just absolutely love Ukraine. And Ukraine is a beautiful country. They call us expats. I live here in Kiev. Kiev is my home, but because I'm from the United States, they call me an expat. It's really not correct because I love my country too. But I also love Ukraine. So I'm a dual pat, which means I'm a patriot to two countries. I will fight for the United States and I will fight for Ukraine because I love Ukrainian culture, I love the people, the warmth. But going through this time is very difficult, and one of the reasons why I invited you onto the show is because you have a very important part into helping, especially the people that are hurting right now, the people that are afraid, the people that have no hope. And you were telling me about the organization, the charitable organization, Kraina
Dobrodii.
Yes, Dobrodii. And so tell me about Kraina Dobrodii and what you do with them.
Що я роблю? Це специфічна така особливість українців. Ми єднаємося, коли нам дуже погано, і підтримуємо один одного. І зараз у нас дуже багато людей в Україні постраждало, дуже багато залишились без домівок, загинули рідні. І фонд, який мене зараз запросив співпрацювати, він зараз встановлює тимчасові помешкання для тих людей, які залишились без житла. І, власне, моя програма, над якою я зараз працюю, це допомогти людям повернути надію, повернути віру в майбутнє. Така психологічна підтримка. Це бо дуже багато людей не розуміють сенсу свого життя подальшого в таких ситуаціях. Дуже багато отримали психологічні травми, вони не можуть складно дуже пережити втрату близьких людей. Тобто це проєкт, над яким я зараз працюю з благодійною організацією.
So, as a psychologist, right, or kind of a psychological support, you went into Bucha last week, and you said that that was a very difficult experience. Can you tell us about last week when you went to Bucha, what you felt inside and what you saw with the people?
Мені дуже складно казати про цей досвід, тому що це, м'яко кажучи, дуже сумно. Я свідомо не хочу вживати більш такі трагічні слова, бо моя місія – це повертати людям все-таки віру і якусь надію.
So I'm sorry. And that's what I felt from you. That in Bucha and Irpin, which is very close to Kiev, even north Obolon, when we had the bombing in February and March, the bombing was in Obolon in the north part of Kiev, and all of that was going on. We did not know how bad. We knew we were fighting the enemy in Bucha. We knew we were fighting the enemy in Irpin. But when they had taken control of those two cities, we really did not know what was going on. And when we went in there and wiped them out and pushed them away, everything was revealed. Everything was exposed. The point is that there's a wound there. It's a very deep wound, and it's a wound of Ukraine. It's not just Bucha and Irpin. This is just close to Kiev. We have Chernihiv. We have Brod, the other city. You went to some of the other cities.
My city?
No, not your city. The cities that you went and visited and helped.
Бородянка.
Yes. I apologize. I'm very bad at pronouncing some of these cities' names. We're going to have to do this in Kherson. We're going to have to do this in all of the villages and towns between Kherson and Mariupol. We're going to have to do this in the Oblast, or in the Donetsk and Luhansk regions and all those areas in the Oblast. There's so much repair that's going to require in the hearts and souls of people. I've talked about PTSD before. It's an acronym that is made up for psychological trauma. It's when certain events happen in your life that they affect your thinking, and they create triggers of either fear, anger, emotion, crying, just these uncontrollable things that we don't understand why we can't overcome. And it's not our fault when we are suffering PTSD. PTSD is not like coronavirus. It's not a bug that floats around and attaches itself to you, and all of a sudden you have PTSD. PTSD is caused by events around us. When you were in Bucha, you experienced and you saw in the eyes of people hopelessness, with no hope. Because their homes were destroyed. Not everything is working smoothly there. They're still needing humanitarian aid and help. But also, when you were with the individuals and the people in Bucha, the fact that you could reach out and touch them, the fact that you can look them in the eye and talk to them, or maybe even give them a hug, those things, that's what you're about. You're about mending the heart. You're about the area of to bring joy back in, because when we have joy, we have strength. We have strength to fight, we have strength to carry on, we have strength to rebuild. When we have that hope in our heart, it gives us the desire to do something, even when our circumstances are not good or when they look bad. Where that hope comes from is people like Olena. We need Olena. We need many Olena out there, people who have such a warm heart and a soul that want to hug and to embrace and to mend and to heal. Your YouTube channel, your Facebook page, I've listened. Of course, she's speaking in Ukrainian, so I don't listen very well, but I do read her writings. She writes blogs on her Facebook, and I can see, what the experiences and your experiences and what you're trying to share, to give hope to people, and we need a lot of that, and we need, here in Kiev, we still have millions of people living here. Our lives are coming back to some normalcy right now. We're working. More jobs are opening up, stores are opening, and you can see people walking in the park and enjoying the fresh air. As right now it feels like October, not August. I don't know what happened to our summer, but it will come back, I hope. Anyway, but it's fresh air, and we like to get out and experience these things. So, take the strength that we have here and give it to the people that are in need, like, Olena. And of those who are in need, don't be afraid to reach out to me. Don't be afraid to reach out to Olena. I'll be happy to introduce you to Olena because she has such a warm heart to help and to want to share the joy and give it and give hope again to those that are suffering. So that's and that's why it was important for me to bring you here. We get busy doing many things. I mean, I have my business, I get busy and I get distracted and I stop thinking about the suffering that's going on. And it's not right because the suffering is going on. And, our soldiers, they don't get that rest. They don't get that break. They have to fight. They have to go in there. They have to think about their day. And they have to think about the orders they're receiving and how to overcome the enemy. They don't get to rest. And so I also don't want to rest. I want to be able to reach out and to help in some way. I do it militarily. I train as best I can. I do what I can and to train our military. But even when this war is over, we're going to have a big influx of men and women who will suffer emotional damage from the war, and you're going to be needed in such a big way. And I'm thankful to have people like you, Olena, that wants to help. There's another woman. She's in the same field as you, and she also has a blog as well. And she writes on the Facebook. I would like to introduce you to. I think you two would like each other very much. She also has that passion and desire to help and to see that joy come back into people's lives. And so those people with that kindred, we call it kindred spirit, that same spirit can come together and become a better, more powerful force of good, into the society and into the environment and everything. So, but I'm, again, thankful for coming on here. Is there anything else you would like to share about how this has affected you before February 24th, before Russia came, and then now? And so, like, what was your life like in December and January of this year? And how has that changed today? Okay?
I understand. Так, до війни це був, власне, я, як всі українці, були сповнені якихось планів, надій, мрій, а ми насолоджувалися, власне, тим, що є, не задумувались про якісь такі більш серйозні цінності. Дуже багато людей в Україні. Під час війни, звичайно, а все змінилось. Ми почали більш підтримувати одне одного. Я відчула в людях єдність. Ми стали всі великою одною сім'єю, яка турбується де кожен член турбується один про одного. І незважаючи на те, що дійсно дуже складно в країні, і багато людей втратили надію, все-таки ми стали сильнішими. І ми вже не боїмося казати про себе, і я сподіваюся, що люди почнуть більше розповідати про свої почуття, про те, що дійсно їх турбує, а не якимись там планами жити і ілюзіями.
Okay. So, kind of in English, I don't know everything that she said, but in English, I knew Olena before the invasion on February 24th, but we only knew each other on Facebook. And I invited her to some events that got canceled because of February 24th. The event was on February 26th. And she was invited to that event, and so that was going to be our first time that we were actually going to meet personally. We didn't meet until much later, until really 2 weeks ago. Yeah, 2 weeks, somewhere around there. I forget when. Anyway, because we were busy, we were doing things around. I had left Kiev for a few weeks into Carpathia, then I came back. So there was this constant movement going on, so we never really had an opportunity to meet face to face. It wasn't until we had the opportunity to meet that I realized how valuable you were. You can read on Facebook what's going on, and you can get kind of a sense of somebody and who they are, how they open themselves up. The people who are more open in heart are much easier to know. It's easier to know you that way. People who are closed in heart, you don't know anything. It's impossible to know them. You only know, okay, well, they're beautiful on the outside, but you really don't know about their character. You don't know if they're nice or if they're mean or if they're, what kind of personality trait they have, and usually that over time you get to know them that way. But to those who are very open, so she was very open on her writings and her blogs. She was very transparent in the way she just kind of laid everything out and wrote about it, and so it was very easy and comfortable to get to know you, and to which was very, very pleasant and very nice. But anyway, so the little bit that I knew before, I didn't really get a chance to know what her life was about and how life was going on. I mean, we were all coming out of COVID, and things were just starting to wheel back up and get rolling again. Until this happened. So this is the first chance that I really have an opportunity to know, who you are, what you've gone through, your experiences in life, your journey. We all go through a journey in life, but we choose that journey. It's not a journey that's chosen for us. In some cases, in certain environments, we don't have a choice. If we're born in a prison environment, if we're born in a slave environment, which there's still slavery around in the world, some children who are born into those environments, they don't have choices. They don't have control over what they get to do. But in the free society, we get to choose our journey. But even if you are in bondage, even today, if there's some situations that you're in a bondage situation, the choices you do get to make are choices that affect your soul. Nobody else can do that. Now, we can allow people to affect our soul if we let them, but we don't have to let them, no matter what the circumstances are. We learn to make our life peaceful, no matter what the circumstances are around us, but we get to choose whether we're going to love, we get to choose whether we're going to forgive, we get to choose whether we're going to be kind and nice, We can choose those things. Or we could choose to be angry. We could choose to be bitter. We could choose to be unforgiving. We could choose to be full of hatred. So those are choices. Those are our choices. Nobody else's choices. You know, most people don't know, when I grew up, I was bullied. I got picked on all the time. And for no reason. This is the thing about bullies, they don't have a reason to bully somebody. They just see somebody that is vulnerable and they just capitalize on it, because bullies are weak. They're cowards. And the way they hide behind their cowardice is that they oppress those around them. And they convince you that they are strong, kind of like Putin. Putin is a bully, and he convinces everybody he's strong. He's weak. His country is weak. His army is weak. His supplies, his everything. He's weak. But the whole world's like, oh, Russia, Russia. You know, don't disturb Russia. Europe is still doing that. But little old Ukraine is kicking Russia all over the place. Because it always takes one person to stand up to the bully to show how weak they are. And that was my life. That's why I was so endeared to Ukraine, because I saw Ukraine struggles in the history of Ukraine from the very beginning. In the 900th century, or 9th century, when Ukraine was formed, it was a constant struggle, because the bordering countries were always trying to take the land and always oppressing and always trying to steal, and Ukraine would rise up, you know, and push them back out, and they would lose the country, then they get the country back. And that's what bullies try to do. They try to steal something good from somebody who's peaceful and kind. I'm just a peaceful person, and so people were able to bully me. I didn't like to fight when I was young. I didn't like pain, you know, so I ran. I was a good runner. Nobody could catch me. So but not many people know that about me. I had a choice. Being bullied did kind of form my character a little bit. I chose to be kind. I also chose to be forgiving. Now, I did become a Christian at a young age when I was in the Marine Corps, and of course that supported that, as as it's written in the Bible. It talks about forgiveness, and so it supports that. But it was part of my nature to do that. I was wanting to be friends. I want to be friends. I don't want enemies. And but you know, as I grow up and I went through the military and got trained and you know, was a sports and athlete and blah blah blah, I realized that that nobody could bully me anymore. But I would defend the weak. I would defend those people who could not defend themselves. That's my nature. That's the path that I personally chose. Now, people have taken advantage of me. People have used me. People have abused my goodness and my kindness. But I could have been angry. I could have hardened my heart and said, well, they're not going to ever do that again. Well, maybe they won't. But I never hardened my heart to not allow anybody else to hurt me. Because the moment I harden myself, I prevent people from coming in. And then now nobody can receive good from me, because I'm not willing to give good. And those are kind of the paths. And so it's a long story, and I apologize. To talk about Olena, one of the things that she was telling me is that about 10 years ago, 12 years ago, you started this journey of your life that kind of took you down kind of a spiritual path. And that you went to different countries and you experienced different cultures. And you wanted to absorb this in to grow your soul. And that's what I remember about, you know, what you were sharing with me. And but it formed you, that you know, the 12 years or so, or however long it was, it formed you to who you are today. So I could thank all of those people in your life in the past, because those people helped you to make your decisions to be who you are, to be kind, to be generous, and to have an open heart. And I can thank your tutors, those, whether they abused you, whether they misused you, whether they didn't treat you right, it's still, you made choices to be nice, and you made choices to be kind. And it's in the same way, those people who abused me, the bullies that picked on me, and all those, you know, where I've gotten hurt in my life, formed me to who I am today, and is my journey, But I chose to go the journey, and I made a comment to myself, and I made a promise that no matter what happens to me, I will always be kind. I will always be nice. So no matter what somebody does to me, I will still be nice. It's not always easy, believe me. It's not easy to always make that decision because, my pride gets hurt. I want to rise up, Sometimes I just want to beat them down, And I'm big enough, I can do that. But I chose not to. Sometimes I just have to walk away. They've done harm, and I just walk away, and I don't retaliate. I don't get revenge. I don't do anything mean. I want to be kind. I don't want to be, at any point in my life, I don't want to be unkind. I don't want to be mean, and be different than who I am, And so those are all choices we make, and so our circumstances don't need to dictate whether we're going to be open in the heart and whether we're going to be nice and kind and loving. Talk?
Yes.
Give me a little bit of your journey from starting, 12 years ago, that where you traveled to different cultures and different countries. Tell me a little bit about that, how it made you think a little bit the way you think today.
Насправді, мабуть, я б хотіла розповісти не про подорож, не про той досвід, який я отримала, а ті розуміння, які в мене сталися. Це, перш за все, потрібно дозволяти собі бути собою, відчувати те, що ти відчуваєш, і відкрито про це заявляти. Не потрібно боятись того, що ти, коли тобі погано, коли ти злишся, адже за всім цим, перш за все, криється біль. Ми закриваємо серце, люди закривають серце, коли їм боляче. І можливість проживати цю біль, вона відкриває, знову повертає це почуття довіри до світу, відкритості. Не пам'ятаю, хто з великих людей сказав, краще я буду довіряти і страждати від цього, чим буду жити в недовірі.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So, so every one of us has a journey, and every one of us can shine within that journey. We can all rise above. We can always take, the good and hold on to the good. We can always take the bad and remove the bad, and continue to be that soft person that we want to be. One thing about love is that we want to love and we want to be loved, and in order to have that happening, you have to love. You have to be. A verse in the Bible says, "He who has many friends must show himself friendly." So, if I want many friends, I have to be friendly, and it works. And that's even my business, Andesite Blue, and my contacts and my international connections all comes from that openness and being friendly. People love coming around when they see that you got a smile on your face, you're delightful, your eyes are bright, and it's like, oh wow, and it makes it so easy to talk to. Even if our language is strained a little bit, we have the joy of understanding each other that transcends the language. And so even though I don't speak Ukrainian, she thinks I do, and your English is not at a level you want it to be at, but we still understand many things when we talk. And that's because we come, as we call it, cut from the same cloth. We kind of went down the same path. We kind of chose the same road to go down, separately of course, but it led us to an area that where we're friendly, where we're open, and where people want to come to us. When we go into places that need help, they could see in our eyes, and they immediately just kind of gravitate. I have so many children, even little children. I'll be sitting down, I'll have my daughter, I'll be playing with my daughter, stuff like that, and then she'll go off and kind of play some things, and this little boy was watching. And he came over to me, and he sat right in my lap. Just sat there. He just wanted that. He saw my interaction with my daughter, the joy, the laughter, the smile, my smile, they call it an American smile. I said, why do you smile so much? And because of choices that I made. I can smile not being fake. American smiles are not fake. The smile comes from the fact that it comes from hope. And with part of the American dream is that people go there is because they know that they can build a life that they dreamed about. They know that they can work hard and make it come true. And when you have that hope, you smile. You have a lot of smile. And so when I smile and I'm with my daughter, or if I'm out in public, I have children that run up and hug my legs, or they stand next to me and they lean on me, and that's about as bold as they can get. And they just kind of lean. They want more. They want to be picked up. I reach down, pick them up, then they're kind of like, he picked me up. Oh no, I wanted it, but but then they get comfortable and I put them back down, But it's that that energy that we share that people are drawn to. So not only in children, it happens in adults, because many people just love to come around. Many people love hugs. Just a hug. It doesn't mean anything. It's just that warm embrace. Just to greet, warmth, goodbye, hello. It's just that comfort. It's comforting, and it's an exchange of each other's spirit and soul. To say, hey, I care. I'm thinking about you. It's nice. I'm happy to see you. Or take care of yourself. I can't wait to see you again next time we see each other, and so on. So this is, like I say, it was a different program today, more on the psychological aspects of it. Again, I know that there are troubles out there. There are people suffering. There's wounds, not just external wounds. I'm talking about wounds that are inside. And please reach out. Feel free. You have andesiteblue.com. We have our website down there. You can reach out. You can ask for me by name, Mike Wilson. You can send me a message and say, I would like to talk to Olena, and I'll run it by Olena, and because I know that her heart is to open to help as well. So here in Ukraine, and there's many Ukrainians that are in Europe. There's many Ukrainians in America that have just left. Their hearts are broken because of what's going on. They see it in the news all the time, and it devastates them. I do recommend not to watch the news as much. Choose less, because it'll just give you too much emotion, and it's depressing. But just understand that we're here to help, and we're here to help Ukraine win, and we're giving all of what we can to help Ukraine win, and so that you that are away from home, that are abroad right now, and kind of feel like you're homeless, and you're missing Ukraine. We're taking care of Ukraine. We're doing our best, and we're going to get victory over this. And we will rejoice to see you come back. Even if you've made a permanent residence outside of Ukraine, I know you're going to come back and visit, because Ukraine is in you, and it will never leave. And so that's the beautiful part, and that's why I love Ukraine so much, because you see that in the people here, the culture of it. It's unlike any other place I've seen, and I really appreciate that. So the men and the women here are absolutely lovely, beautiful people. All right, well, thank you for joining us this evening, and Olena, thank you for coming and sharing your life with us and your experience. Next week I'll have a guest. It's going to be a little bit more about business, but business during this time. So it's I look forward to seeing you then. Have a good evening, and take care this week. Bye-bye.